Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm covering part 3 and the conclusion of the story I've been covering throughout the afternoon and evening here. Again, about the guy whose girlfriend is up to no good with the local politician that is hiring her company's catering business. And as you all recall, also behind the scenes, this guy, the lawyer, is trying to take this guy down because of his actions as a assistant district attorney back in the day, putting the wrong guy behind bars. And where we left off, the guy saw her come home late, witnessed her, finishing up activities in the SUV with a scumbag, and she came home and the guy gave her rid of the riot act, and she ended with her pretty much saying what we all think she's probably saying about the future of their relationship and what she wants to do. So it continues on, says here, I told her I don't understand what she was talking about. I said I thought I knew what they were doing. She's planning and managing his events. She said she and I agreed that the most important thing is to get Ford reelected. I interjected that's her thing. I think he's an a-hole. I'm pretty sure he'll be forced to drop out of the race before the election. She got mad at me. I don't know what I'm talking about, she said. He's way ahead in the polls. I don't know anything about politics. Leave the politics to her. She's basically running his campaign now. Trust her, he's going to get to the White House someday. I'm just jealous of Ford. He's a great man. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that, this guy actually, nothing happened to him and he was reelected. And do you think he's going to keep her around? Really? So she calmed down and smiled. She probably figured telling me I'm jealous of Ford was not the right way to say if I was going to accept her new plan. She continued that Ford considers her an important advisor. She finds working on the campaign exciting and fulfilling. She always knew she was destined to do something very important. Ford is constantly telling her how essential she is to his campaign. Because she's essential because she's sucking as you know what probably every freaking night, or at least multiple times. Come on here. And trying to put on this show for the media. He wants her working on the campaign as much as she can. She's decided to spend more time on his campaign. What about her regular job? Ford tells Cleo he finds her presence in the campaign soothing. Oh, I'm sure he does. The campaign causes a lot of stress, and Ford says that she's the only one around him that can alleviate his stress. Yeah, you want to elaborate how she alleviates his stress? He needs to be relaxed and stress-free to manage his campaign effectively. Nervous, tense, stressed candidates don't win. She looked at me and said that she has a positive impact on the race. She wants to provide Ford with special services which will help him become a better candidate. She can help put him over the top. Special services, huh? Yeah, I thought she's telling me what I think she's telling me. I told her I don't understand. What special services? This guy's obviously playing dumb on purpose to get her to speak up. She looked exasperated and said she's proposing we, wait for it, open our relationship to include Ford. And only Ford. Ford has sexual needs, and the campaign believes that unless those needs are taken care of, Ford will eventually find someone outside the campaign. She's actually saying these fucking words here. I know a lot of you guys are like, this is bullshit. Well, you just never know. In the Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0 world, guys, you just never know. But regardless, this is entertaining as hell. When he's caught with some random women he meets, the press will say he's gone back to his old ways and is cheating on Cleo. A disaster. They'll all agree it's better to satisfy his needs in a house with Cleo. Oh, what a wonderful idea. Sure, honey, I'll go along with this. Women like this don't bring this up unless they think their guy's a weak bitch. Ain't going anywhere. This guy's proven to be clueless on so many things initially, but not anymore. Everyone in the press believes Cleo is his girlfriend. She's the only one who can take care of this problem without the press calling Ford a predator again. Key word there, predator. Once the campaign is over in November, Cleo and I will be back to normal. Her relationship with Ford will be over. Eventually, she sees us getting married and having children. Delusional. The campaign will be an exciting memory that we'll both be proud of. How's an exciting memory of him when she's sucking what's-his-name and effing what's-his-name? Really? She's actually saying these things? We'll have helped this great man of the country. She'll be helping his campaign in no way anybody else can. I asked if she's proposing that I just sit around while she's effing Ford. How will this open relationship she's proposing work for me? She said she's not proposing this because she wants to have sex with Ford. She doesn't need or want sex with another man. I fulfill her every need. The SEX will just help Ford be the best campaigner he can be. The open relationship will only involve her and Ford, no one else. When we're together, Clea and I will continue our loving relationship as if Ford doesn't exist. She's actually saying that she can have the open relationship with Ford, the guy running for office, but this guy here can't have any fun. She'll be thinking of me when she's with him. Our relationship will probably become even more loving. Clea continued that she didn't think I was interested in seeing other women. She thought she was enough for me like I am for her. Oh yeah, you're great for me, baby. It would be very damaging for me to go outside a relationship. She's doing this for a higher purpose, not for sex. Well, I do think she's doing this to ride along with this guy to the top. That's what she thinks. I'd be doing it for revenge, jealousy, and to soothe my fragile ego. She was smiling while telling me about her providing Ford with her special services. Now she was frowning. She didn't like talking about me providing special services to anyone but her. Effing narcissist. She scoffed and said I'm too busy to find anyone to hook up with anyway, and I love her too much to betray her. To betray her? Really? Anyway, it'll only be for a few months. The open relationship ends on election day. Then everything will return to normal. We'll go on our lives even happier than before. Women don't say this unless they're absolutely delusional, narcissistic, and think their guy is the dumbest fucking guy in the world, and also, he's not going anywhere. I asked her if she's been already providing Ford with special services, and she was taken aback and said she's kissed him a couple of times. No big deal. Well, guess what, guys? In my book, a girl kissing somebody else while in a relationship is a big deal. But we know she's doing a lot more with her mouth than just kissing this dude. She's done nothing that she's embarrassed or ashamed of. She wanted to get this all out in the open before they took it any further. I didn't like when they came up with the girlfriend charade without telling me, so she's being up in front with her new plans. I should be glad she's not hiding anything from me. You sure about that, sweetheart? I asked her if they kissed in the car last night when Ford took her home. She said she may have kissed him, but it wasn't anything more than thanking him for driving her home. Well, she was certainly thanking him all right, with her spitting his love juice into the street. I asked her where she kissed him. She looked confused and said in the car. I asked her which part of his body did she kiss. She asked me what was I talking about. I asked her if she wasn't ashamed or embarrassed at giving Ford a BJ in the car in front of his driver and his bodyguard. I'm sure they enjoyed watching her naked boobs flopping around while she performed her special services for Ford. Did they cheer her on? All the color drained from her face. She had nothing to say, and now she was really panicking. Well, she doesn't know panic yet. I told her I had a counter-proposal for her open relationship. I propose that we end things right now and never see each other again. Amen. Now, obviously, this guy was just letting her talk with her whole bullshit until finally, he could drop this on her. I told her my stuff was in the car. I took out my phone and told her I'm blocking her, which I did. I told her I'll tell security in my office building that if she shows up there to immediately escort her off the premises, we are done. I never want to see her again. Clea looked shocked. She said she didn't think I'd be thrilled about her proposing a relationship, but that I would understand how important this was to her. It would only be for a few months, until the election was over, and never again. Why did I want to do something so drastic as to break up our relationship? Don't I understand that she loves me and only me? The SEX with Ford means nothing to her. Great story. I started toward the door and she yelled at me to wait. She jumped up and tried to grab me. I shook her off and continued to the door. She started sobbing. She said forget everything she said about an open relationship. She wanted SEX with Ford. Look at just like that. Total 180 once this guy shows he means business. She realizes now that an open relationship was a stupid idea. Really? You just realized this in the span of like 19 seconds? She asked me to please sit down so we can talk. If I'm upset about the mistake she made in the car last night, please believe me that was the first and only time she's done that. A mistake, huh? Yeah, it's always a mistake. She's embarrassed and ashamed, but we can get past this. I opened the door and walked out. She followed me all the way to my car, dressed only in her t-shirt and panties. She certainly likes to put on a show for people. The bodyguard and the driver last night, and now the neighborhood. Then she says she'll never see Ford again. She'll quit her job if that's what I want. She'll do anything I want, just don't leave her. Got in my car and drove to my office. I'll be sleeping there until I get a place. I've slept there plenty of times before, but only because of work, never because I was homeless. And this is why you don't move into your girlfriend's turf, guys. You at least, if you're going to move in with her, you get a place together. Or she comes to your place. I got emails from Cleo for the following few weeks. I didn't read them and labeled her email as spam, so they went to the spam folder. I did continue to follow the news about Ford's campaign. Cleo and Ford no longer need to hide anything. The newspaper had pictures of them kissing, holding hands, and hugging. Pictures of her sitting on his lap. I'm writing this in early July. I haven't seen her talk to Cleo since I left the apartment and never will again. Well, good. Now it's time to help that poor bastard who's in prison and do everything you can to get him out and bring Ford down. My confrontation with Cleo took place on Sunday in May. Early that Monday morning, the managing partner came to my office and saw my bags in a suit. He told me an occasional night sleeping in my office was okay, but I cannot live here. Get the keys to the corporate apartment from his secretary. I can stay there until I find something permanent. He didn't ask about Cleo. He knew what happened. I thanked him and he asked me about Ford. I told him I got a text from Matt. He'll be here soon with the new information. The managing partner told me he'll be in his office. Let him know. Shortly later, Matt knocked on my office door and said, We've got him. Ford's toast. He was exuberant. I asked him to show me. He said Cole and his wife lived in the apartment building over a bodega before he was arrested. The entrance to the apartment building is right next to the bodega. The bodega has cameras aligned to catch anyone in front of the store. Anyone entering the apartment house is also filmed. Matt introduced himself to the owner of the bodega on Saturday. He asked the owner if the camera worked. Yes. The bodega is open from 5:30 a.m. until 10 o'clock at night. If they got footage of him coming home, then obviously he wasn't there to do what happened. Why didn't they get this initially? The cameras are on while they're open. He puts fruits and vegetables out in the front in baskets. People steal stuff. The cameras act as a deterrent. Does he keep the feed from the cameras? Yes, but after a week, the feed is overwritten. He gave the owner the date of the crime that Cole was accused of. Did the police ask to look at the video that evening? Yes. A detective came and asked him the same questions Matt asked. The detective told him they were interested in Cole's coming and goings that afternoon and evening. The owner said Cole and his wife were always friendly and treated him well. He wondered why the detective was interested in Cole. Is this the same detective that's now the head of this scumbag, head of his security? He told the detective he would give him the video, but he had to find that period of time and copy it. He could do it, and he closed that night and had the copy ready for the detective the next day. The detective said okay and left. He came back for his copy the next day. Matt looked at me and asked if I'd ever heard of a detective willing to return to get evidence and not demanding it right away. No, not unless he needs a subpoena. Matt asked if the owner looked at the feed he supplied to the detective. The owner said he had it and he was going to provide the correct footage. Does the owner remember what was on the footage? He said like it was yesterday. He looked for Cole's movements that evening and night until they closed at 10 p.m. Cole had come home after 5 p.m. There you go. Cole didn't leave the apartment building before the cameras were turned off at 10, unless he was out from a window on the 9th floor. If he used the fire escape, he would have been caught on camera. Cole was home all evening. I asked Matt how the owner knew which floor Cole and his wife lived on. He told me the bodega owner also owns the apartment building. Cole and his wife were his tenants. There you go. Matt stopped, opened his bag, and said he has 2 affidavits. One from the bodega owner stating that he viewed the video and was attesting to the fact that he saw Cole come home shortly after 5 p.m. and didn't leave again that evening. The other is from the victim's girlfriend attesting to the fact that the victim had broken up with her boyfriend and that she had bruises and the victim said were caused by the boyfriend and that she had also told the police. The crime was between 6 and 7 p.m. and no later than 8 p.m. Cole was at home. The discovery they gave to the public defender said they talked to the bodega owner, but were told that the tapes were already erased. We can now prove that was a lie. They never followed up on the victim's boyfriend. We have enough to get before a judge. We have more than enough to destroy Ford's career. More importantly, should have enough to get a retrial for Cole. The hearing before a judge was at the end of May. This was a hearing I will never forget. I was there as Cole's attorney with Matt. The DA's office sent an ADA. The original judge who heard Cole's case was now retired. The new judge said she read the affidavits were submitted, looked over the court transcript, read the DA's internal file. She asked the ADA what he had to say, and the ADA said there's nothing in the affidavits that require a retrial. The bodega owner was obviously mistaken about what he remembered, but the lead detective and Ford at the time, and not 3 years later, said there was no footage from the cameras during the evening in question. They didn't follow up on the victim's boyfriend because all the evidence pointed to Cole. The ADA said everything was done properly. Oh, for goodness sake. There was no basis for ordering a retrial. I'm assuming this ADA is not the one he spoke to earlier. The judge looked at me and said this hearing is going to be short and sweet. She's not going to order a retrial. My heart sunk. I didn't think I could face Cole or his wife. The judge continued that instead she's going to vacate Cole's guilty verdict. Aha! If the DA's office wants to retry Cole, they can arrest and try him again. The judge looked at the ADA, and she said she's been on the bench for over 12 years. She's never seen a more crazy Brady violation all those years. A Brady violation is a failure to turn over everything to the prosecutor has to the defense and discovery. She's ordering the DA's office to issue subpoenas for Ford, the former DA, and the lead detective to appear in her court. She wants them to explain why they all shouldn't be held in contempt of court. The ADA should prepare the subpoenas today for her signature. She continued that I had submitted the victim's boyfriend's history She continued that I had submitted the victim's boyfriend's history with the police to her, but the boyfriend's history with the police was in Ford's internal case file. Shocker. Ford just didn't bother to hand that over to the defense. Unforgivable. She continued, the DA's office needs to go back through the case files of every convicted defendant that Ford or the lead detective has anything to do with. Oh my God, they're opening up a hornet's nest. The judge wants the current DA to assure her that the Brady violations were not SOP for the DA's office. Any further Brady violations they find should be immediately brought to her attention. The judge asked the ADA how quickly he can get Cole released from prison. The ADA said he'll push a rush on it. The process should only take a couple of days. The judge looked at her watch and said it's now just before 10 a.m. She wants Cole out of prison by noon today. If he's not out by noon, the ADA will be in prison with Cole until Cole is released. Wow, a practical judge. Does the ADA understand what's required of him? The ADA said Cole will be out of prison by noon. The judge said she wants the ADA to call her clerk when Cole is released. The judge asked if I had anything more. I thanked her and said no. She gavelled. The hearing was over. Matt said we should call the managing partner with the good news. I said we can call him from the car, but it's more important to tell Cole's wife. She's at work waiting to hear the results of this hearing. I'm going to tell her in person. Does he want to come? He said he wouldn't miss it for the world. Cole's wife works in a warehouse, and when we got there, we told her manager we needed to talk to her. Everyone in the place probably knew while we were there. The manager picked up his phone, and we could hear his voice on loudspeaker asking Cole's wife to come to the office. When she saw me, she stopped and her face dropped. She figured we came to her work and didn't just call because we wanted to give her the bad news in person. I smiled at her. She ran to the office and looked at me hopefully. I asked her if she wanted to come. She wanted to come with us to pick up her husband. He'll be a free man by noon today. She put her hand on my chest and started crying. I hugged her. It was the happiest I've ever seen Cleo start. It was the happiest I've ever seen since Cleo started to work with Ford. So here's the follow-up from all this. Ford and the detective were found in contempt and both were sentenced to 3 months confinement. The judge wants to make a point. They are serving their time now. The DA argued that he didn't know what Ford and the detective were up to and got off with a stern admonition from the judge. Yeah, sure, the DA didn't know. He will never hold a public position again. Ford, of course, immediately withdrew from his house race. He will lose his license to practice law. His legal career is over. Hero to villain in one press cycle. He's now vilified by the press, as he should be. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, this fucking scumbag. Man, I can only imagine what's happening to him in prison. Especially if he is put amongst general population. Cole is suing every public entity involved in this case, as well as Ford, the detective, and the former DA. As he should. The woman who sits in his office, 2 doors down from mine, is handling the lawsuits. This will not be pro bono. Cole will be a very wealthy man. The DA's office hasn't pursued any further action against Cole. Oh, I'm sure they're not. Cole's going to clean up, and so is the law firm. The press coverage went on for weeks. Somehow it leaked to the press that Cleo's event planning company not only supplied event planning, but also full-service escorts for their clients. Cleo was a full-service escort they supplied for Ford's use. Cleo was fired from her company because of her inappropriate behavior with Ford. I saw Cleo on the news denying that she's a prostitute and running from reporters. The company she worked for had their contract with Ford's campaign committee, not with Ford directly. When Ford dropped out of the race, all his campaign commitments' money was gone. The campaign owed the event planning company hundreds of thousands of dollars they couldn't pay. With the bad press and lack of funds, the event planning company declared bankruptcy. I don't feel bad for them. All those hours with Ford for no commission for Cleo. But I'm sure working with Ford fulfilled her in more ways than money could ever buy. What about me? I smile now every time I see stories about Ford or Cleo on the news. I'm invited to eat dinner with Cole's family every couple of weeks and go where I can. I'm told I'll have free plumbing for the rest of my life. Hey, becoming best buddies with a plumber, that's a plumber, air conditioning repair guy. Yeah, these are great people to be friends with. The managing partner asked me to come to his next partner meeting in a few weeks. They want to interview me to see if I'm ready to be partner, and I'm ready. And that is the end of the story. And as many of you probably have said in the comment section, this seems like a movie, too good to be true. And I'll admit there's a lot of things in here, but let me tell you, it was definitely fun to read and entertaining, and you just never know in this world. So anyhow, guys, it is what it is. But I hope you enjoyed it. And to this guy, if this is real, good for you. Justice to serve. Enjoy being a partner. Now you don't have to work as much, and etc., etc. And next time, be careful with your women. You get the point. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you got a great story to share or a story that you found, email me strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it. I definitely will when I get the chance. Of course, if it works for the channel. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.